Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. It is Friday. It is Holy Friday, Good Friday. And if you do celebrate Easter, I do. Happy Easter to you. This is a very sacred weekend for those of us Christians. And Passover just happened for all the Jewish people. We celebrate that too. I'm so happy to have you here today. This is a shorter version of a show that's just almost live with me. I was asked to do this a couple weeks ago, and I just haven't had time. I've had some really great guests. I hope that you haven't missed them. Nelson Aspen was just amazing. And his Titanic story and his book, I just loved it. I really loved it. And it was called Kindred Spirits, a Titanic Tale. I don't know if you've read it yet, but anybody would love it. It's just a great, great book. And I really enjoyed meeting him. He said I was one of his friends, the best friend he ever never met, because we all know the same people. So he'd sent me something saying, you know, I know you because I know everybody that knows you, but you don't know me, and I want to be on your show. So so it worked out. It worked out really well. And then I had my kids down last weekend because a bunch of people went to Coachella. So my niece Natalia went to Coachella with her friend, and they're influencers, her friend Sutton. And so they came back from a Revolve party with all kinds of free stuff. I was like, maybe being an influencer isn't such a bad thing. Oh, they had so many cool things, and they had such a good time, and the kids were so dressed and so cute. They just looked so cute. And this weekend is the second weekend of Coachella. And then I'm going to take my camera with me when I go to Stagecoach because I want you guys to see it from my point of view. It's really a blast, and I can't wait. So that's in a couple more weeks. So I have a bunch of questions from you all that I was sent. People called my number, my business number, which, just for your information, is 917-267. Let me have a chance to write this down, to 917-267-2930. And you can leave me a text message there if you have questions for me about just about anything. So let's get to it. Christian, wanted to send a few fan questions if time allows. You had electrifying chemistry with both Gannon brothers, Hank and RJ. Yeah, I did. Love those guys. Still do. What were some of your favorite memories working with Nathan Purdie and Timothy Stickney? Then he says, years ago when I met Timothy, I told him RJ and Alex should have been a full-blown couple, and he replied, I like the way you think. Okay. God. I've got so many funny stories with Nathan. It's not even, first of all, I was there when Robbie went to the hospital to give birth to his son. And it was a huge, huge deal, of course, because it's always a huge deal. But Taylor was born the same day as Jennifer Anglin from General Hospital. She's my best friend from that show. Her son Alex was born the same day. So I had two dear, dear friends having children on the same day. And it was very exciting that day. And as time went on, I kept thinking, am I ever going to get married? Am I ever going to have kids? And I did finally. It took a long time though. My biological clock was ticking. Anyway, there was a time that Nathan decided to wear his hair in little braids. Okay, little braids. Now Nathan's a very handsome guy, and he's normally, Gannon's got his character has, short cropped hair like a lawyer, but he decided he wanted to have these little like cornrow things, but they weren't cornrows, they were just little braids. And so finally I said, you're just too sexy. You're too sexy for your shirt. You're too sexy. So we started singing that song. Every time we saw him, all of us started singing, he's too sexy for his shirt, too sexy for his hair, too sexy for his, and it just became this thing. And to this day, whenever I see him, I think of that song. Um, we really had a good time. There was a scene that I may be able to find it and put it up. Uh, it's, somebody said it was on my Emmy reel, and I don't remember, but they sent it to me, and it really was. I had forgotten how incredibly sexy that was. That was a scene with he and I on the stairs of Alex's apartment, and he was always coming after Alex because she'd done something illegal, and that was his job. But he admired her brains. He admired her manipulative qualities, the fact that she had so much confidence that she really felt like she could fool him or pull things off. And, he wasn't fooled, but I think he enjoyed her. And it was obvious in this scene. So maybe I'll be able to pull that up for you guys to see it. It was really fantastic. Loved working with him. And then when Timothy came in, he had the long braids down to here, and he played this really, really mean, tough guy, the scary guy. Of all the people in the world to play a scary person, I mean, I played a scary person. Timothy has a heart of gold. Timothy is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. He is a Shakespearean actor. He's been a teacher. He's been coaching and helping. I think he might be a professor now. He's very, very, very talented in classical theater. So he did a great job on daytime television. But people used to think that when you were on daytime television that you were starting out, or that you weren't really that terrific, that you were just a sort of a so-so sort of actor. And that's just not true. Some of the best actors I've ever worked with were on daytime. And now some of them sound like they're reading. They don't have any depth in what they're saying. You can't see anything going on inside them. That happens when new people come into anything, any genre. But some of the best people came out of daytime. I mean, Judith Light came out of daytime. Tom Selleck came out of daytime. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But working with Timothy was a joy. Working with Nathan was a joy. And I'd love to have those times back. Sometimes when a show ends, where you move into another phase of your life, and you look back at the past, you have these warm, incredible memories, and that's the best. That's just the best. And you hope in the future that you'll create more like that. And I do. I really miss working, so I miss creating more like that. Soon, I'm going to have Doug Jones on the show with me. And Doug and I had a great time working on Destination Heaven. And that's something I've done recently. And it's on PureFlix. I don't know if you've seen it. But I put on this Southern accent, and it's the first time I ever played a dumb blonde. She wasn't really dumb, but she was naive and innocent, and the girlfriend, and looked up to the boyfriend. It was like the first time I've ever had that happen. And we just had a blast. And Harry Lennox, who I've had on the show, he was the director. And I used to watch him on Blacklist with James Spader, and I just thought that was the greatest. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, Blacklist, but if you haven't, it's on Netflix, I think. You can find it. It's really, really a great show. And it was on for years and years. I think it was next to the show Boston Legal. Is that what it was called? With William Shatner and James Spader? I don't know if that was what it was called or not, but that was a great, great show for James Spader. Next to that, this was the very best thing I've seen him do. So, okay, so that's my Nathan and Timothy answer. Long-winded, but an answer nonetheless. Um, where do you think Alex would be today? Career, love. Well, she did ride off with Carlo, right? So, um, I think he might be alive. He might not be alive. I mean, I would think she would have gone into the sunset with Carlo, but then something might have happened to him and then she would have had to start over again. So she might have found another billionaire like Asa, or she may have started her own thing. I don't know. That's what writers are for. Those really great writers we had. I wish they could have come up with something more. Um, and the love would have been that. She always found a way to fall in love sincerely with whoever made sense in her life. And she really, really fell in love with them. Um, I wish we could all do that. I wish we could all find somebody that makes sense. You know, they've got the life we want, they've got the house we want, they've got the family we want, they've got everything about them. That we just want that whole picture, their personality, them, everything, and you can just pick that person and fall in love with them sincerely. And I don't know how to do that. I don't fall in love that easily, but and I don't pick people and not be in love with them. I don't stay with people that I'm not madly in love with. So um I thought that was neat that Alex could do that and really be sincerely in love with a person. I mean, that was pretty cool. She could do that. Which singers, Broadway performers inspire you most in terms of your singing talents? Wow. Um, well, I've been singing for a long time. I was in a band in high school. And then that top 40 band was also, I was in that band, same band in college. Um, and then I had a jazz trio at the same time I was Miss Maryland in college. And I would go down to the Eager House in Baltimore and sing down there with a jazz, an upright bass and piano in me. So I love all those torch songs. I love Natalie Cole. I love the Linda Ronstadt album with Nelson Riddle. I love that. I thought Rita Coolidge was really talented. Karen Carpenter was really incredible. But the people that I bought their albums were, Linda Ronstadt, Reba McEntire, James Taylor, Carole King, um, John Denver. Thank God I'm a country boy. Um, I love country music and I love disco. I knew I did all the Donna Summer songs because that was big then. And then we did the Bee Gees. We did the Bee Gees. This is, the 70s, 80s. It was the Staying Alive and all that disco stuff. Um, but when I do a heart-wrenching Tushy Yearwood kind of Rube McEntire kind of song, um, I feel it. I feel it down to my toes. And on Broadway, um, unfortunately for me, uh, I've heard these people on Broadway that have like 5-octave ranges, like like in Wicked. I saw it with the original cast, which was a real gift. Um, and I've seen them all sing, and it's just been so incredible. But I really am more listening to their ability than the feelings of the song sometimes. Um, Whitney Houston was about the only one I could listen to. And even though her range was so extraordinary, she could keep me in the song and keep me feeling what she was saying in a really to me, that's the most important thing is to feel something in your heart and somebody singing a song. And um, she was great at that. She was really great at that. Some people do vocal gymnastics, not so much now, but when I was starting to sing and I was thinking about going into music more than acting, I had like three octaves, maybe three and a half. And back then you had to be able to belt real high. And I just couldn't do it. I just didn't have that kind of a voice. So people that did, when I heard people that did, I was mostly in awe of their ability to sing that high, that loud. And more than I was the feeling of the song, unless they were able to pull me in that way too. I invested in that's Annie Get Your Gun. And so I got to meet Bernadette Peters, and she's really something. She's just amazing. She's a really good actress, and she's a marvelous singer, and she did a great job in that. And then I told them, because I could, that I thought they should get Reba. And they did. And Reba knocked it out of the park. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. And then she ended up on One Life to Live playing Luna. If you remember Luna was great. She was with Jim DePaiva, Max. Reba was related to Luna, and Reba came on our show. And I would love to be able to see if she remembers saying this to me, but she said I taught her how to be a BITC gauge. And I said, I did. And she said, yeah. And she wasn't really acting much back then. And now she acts in tons of things. But she said that I did that for her, and I was happy about that. She invited all of us to come over to Radio City Music Hall and see her show. And it was outrageous. She was sensational. And the most important part, even though that's the most important part, but the personal most important part, was we were all invited to go backstage to see her afterwards, and she came right out. And I've had people keep me waiting a really long time to see them after a show. And I'll never forget how fast she came out to see us. It was an honor. It was really an honor. Recently, I went to Las Vegas and I went to see the Bellamy Brothers. And I'm trying to get David on the show, but I don't know if he'll do it. Went to see the Bellamy Brothers. And I went with my first boyfriend of all time. We're still friends. And we went to see them because he said, why don't you give them a call and see if they'll, see if they want to see you. And I said, oh, I opened for them once at the Palomino, but I don't know. And he said, well, just call them. I said, okay. So I called them. David's wife, Susan, called me right back and said they've got 2 tickets for me in a great row, and please come back immediately after the show, et cetera, et cetera. And so we went. It was incredible. It was a blast. And they did all their hit songs. And when I played at the Palomino opening for them, I really wasn't opening for them. We were like double billed. Our agency was the same, but I felt like I was opening for them. I had asked, my manager used to be married to Jerry Sheff from Elvis's band. And Jason Sheff is his son. And he and I go back a long way. I mean, I lived with that manager when I first arrived in LA. So I had told Linda I wanted to sing and I needed to put a band together, and that Danny Robinson, my agent at APA, was going to book me with the Bellamy Brothers at the Palomino Club. And this was like 1983, something like that. So Linda Roberts said to her ex-husband, you think you can put a band together for Tonja? So I get this phone call they want me to come over to meet them at this rehearsal we're gonna do. And Blendy Harden was on the keyboards. Blendy Harden played with Elvis and Linda Ronstadt and just about everybody in Nashville. And then Albert Lee was my guitar player. Albert Lee has his own albums. Albert Lee, one of the best guitarists of all time. And he was my guitar player because Jerry asked him to be in my band. And they all wanted to work together. So it was just fun for them. They got me a sax player by the name of Jim Horn, who everybody knows. And Paul Lime, who had just finished doing a show with Linda Carter in Las Vegas. He was my drummer. It was an incredible band, right? So it's hard to explain how great this band was. Okay. I was all right, but the band was incredible, right? So in between shows, I spoke to the Bellamy Brothers and we had to do a second show. And they came out and they said, "You were really good, Tonja. It was really wonderful to hear you. But how did you get this band?" I just died. So I told him the story, right? So in Las Vegas, now it's been since 1983-ish. This just happened in Vegas this year. So I go backstage and they're so nice. They see me right away. The first person, they just are so kind. And maybe I'll put a picture up of us together there. Anyway, so they're introducing me to the wife, I never met David's wife, and a couple of the people that were backstage. And he said, "Yeah, she sang with us at the Palomino, and boy, did she have a good band." I couldn't believe it. I thought that was so funny that after all these years, they remember that. So that was a special night. Anyway, there's that story. Broadway performers, they're all amazing. Kristen Chenoweth, of course, I saw her. I told you in Wicked, and I've seen her in many things. Christine Neversall, I've seen her in many things. There's just so many great ones, and they don't get enough attention in my book. They don't become famous enough, in my opinion, because they are rock solid, totally fabulous actors, totally fabulous singers, and they can dance, and it's an amazing thing to be a Broadway star. Okay, this one came from Michael, and this was on my phone. I told you guys the number is, you can call and leave a text message. And when I do these shows, I'll read these for you. This is Michael, and I love when you sang on One Life to Live. And I recently saw a video of you singing on Capitol. So that makes me wonder, what is your favorite song? Whoa. What is my favorite song? I have too many favorite songs. Oh, God. It's my favorite song. There's a song that was from a show that I sang to my husband when we got married, and I can't remember what it was called. It was from, it's the show that where the guy turns into two different people, and Linda Eder sang it. Let's see. What are the female songs in, what was the name of the show? Oh, I should have read the question before. Linda Eder's greatest hits. No, stop now. Okay. Linda Eder's greatest hits, please. Can't believe I can't remember this. It was in my wedding. How could I not remember this? Oh, now it wants to play me something. No, that's not it. All right. I'll figure it out. Anyway, it'll come to me, but that's my favorite, I think. Um, and then there's a lot of other songs I just love, and when I hear them, I just say, oh, that's my favorite song. Oh, speaking of which, Don't Rain on My Parade. That's a Linda Eder song. My sister sang that in the Miss America pageant. Not funny? All right, so they must have it. They must be here somewhere for me to find. Um, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Was that the name of a movie? Was that the name of a play? Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. That's what it was called. Yeah. Uh, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Okay. It was a Broadway show. I don't have my glasses. Drama, horror, drama. Um, Darn it. I'm going to have to find it. I'll have to find it and write it underneath this episode. But I'll tell you what it is if I see that. Um, Kind of screwed up that question, didn't I, Michael? I'm sorry. What I Did for Love was always one of my favorite songs. Just about anything country, anything that has a real strong feeling to it. That's what I love. I used to do How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? Love that song. Can You Read My Mind? I love that song. Love a lot of songs. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Serena Clemente. She is my biggest Italian fan, I think, because Capitol was really big in Italy at night. It was a nighttime show. So we're still famous over there. I'd like to be on Bold and the Beautiful so that I could be famous from that show over there because they're big over there. They're big European. Bold and Beautiful is big everywhere in Europe. Regarding your time on Capitol, she says, what is the storyline that you saw as the protagonist that you remember the most and that you like the most? Oh, my storyline was pretty much the same thing over and over again. I was constantly going between Jordy and Thomas. And I played a girl who had a good heart, but she was confused about what was important to her, which is pretty typical for somebody in their early 20s. You know that a bad guy is a bad guy. So you don't want to fall in love with a bad guy. But all of us seem to at one point or another, frequently. And, you get hurt and you learn your lesson. So she kept falling in love with Jordy, who was the bad guy. And then he would do something to disappoint her or something to hurt her feelings or something. And then she'd run to Thomas. Thomas was from much more straight-laced political family. Less money, higher level of morals, and he had a disability. She could see all around that, and she was in love with him too. But her weakness was the bad boy, and she paid a price for that. She paid a price for that, which people do. That happens a lot in life. What was the last episode Elizabeth was on, and how did she exit? I don't remember. I really don't remember. It was a long time ago. I was devastated. I didn't want to leave that show. I know it had something to do with dancing. I was dancing in a bar, which was really strange. And I don't really know how I left that show. I said I should find out. Was it more fun kissing Jordy or Thomas? I know the answer to that one. Ha ha. I'm not answering that question. I loved both of them. I loved them both sincerely. I really did. And I still do. I follow Michael. He's up in Colorado with his wife and his family. He's very happy up there. And I'm always writing to Todd in in Las Vegas. He lives there. He's very talented trumpet player. He always was, but he wouldn't play for me. I asked him a million times. It's like, no, no, no. And now he does it for a living, I think, besides other things. Um, it would be awesome to see you interview Brian Robert Taylor, Michael Catlin, and Todd Curtis for your show with 3 episodes. You know what? That's a great idea. That I love doing these things. I learn so much from you people. I love that idea. Let me see if I can get them. I think I can reach Todd because we communicate on Facebook, and I think I can reach Michael because we communicate on Facebook, and I think I can reach. I think I can reach Brian too. So we'll see if I can get them all. That would be really fun. Be fun to have them all together, but it'd be really fun to have them. Period. Thanks for that. That was Anna Marie Cosina Wilson. Michael Stark, OLTL fan. Michael said he is a first-time writer and would like any ideas you might have to help him promote. There are, I know that ABC had a program for people that were starting out. I don't know if they still do. But I think a couple of the networks have a young writers program that you can get involved with. That would be worth looking into, but I know that they used to have a writer development program. And there's a writer I love in Chicago who sent me a script and a pitch deck and wanted me to produce this series that he had and wanted me to star in it. And I absolutely loved it. But I couldn't quite figure out how to get it financed. So now I'm taking classes on how to get things financed because when I financed my movie, I paid for it myself. That was The Derby Stallion, for those of you who haven't seen it. It's a great family movie with Zac Efron and me and my kids and Bill Cobbs, who just passed away last year. Loved him. It's a great movie. And anybody that knows anything about me knows I love horses. And so it's about horse racing. And Michael Nardelli is in it, who's gone on to do all kinds of things on his own. And Crystal Hunt, who I just recently got back together with, she's going to be on the show. We just reconnected last week and she's going to be on the show. So that's exciting. God, it's so great to see people again. I just love that being because I was away for so long, with my family, raising my family, and I lived in Cleveland and New York and Florida, and I lost touch with a lot of people. And now to get back together with some people, it's really cool. A lot of people are gone, a lot of people moved on, but when I do get to see people that I used to love, I still love them. And it's an incredible feeling. Kind of makes you feel like your life's fitting back together again. Anyway, so the other thing I was telling you about him is that he's entered his scripts in very, very many festivals, and he's getting a great response from these festivals. And that is something that I could use to help get his pictures funded. So that might be something that you want to do. Now you can also write things and get it on Amazon pretty quickly, I think. But if you want to write scripts, stuff like that, then you can write scripts and submit them to festivals. And if you really want to do that, I can maybe get his number and talk to him about things he might suggest for you. So if you want that, write to me down below. And y'all better be you better have subscribed. I'm still not making any money on the show, so you've got to subscribe and watch it for like more than 5 minutes, because I can't keep doing this for free. But I have enjoyed it so much. I love my fans, and I really enjoyed getting to know new people and exposing you to new people and exposing myself to new people, and then old friends. It's been great to interview old friends, find out what their deal is. I started this program because I was single and I was over 50 and I was trying to date. And I was like, how are people doing this? I'm going to start a podcast for women over 40 and see if I can learn anything. And so I had, if you go back to my first shows, I had people on that wrote books about it, and really great experts about it. Jan, where's her book? A second. Had a lot of book people on the show. This is Sean Kanan's book. I had him on because he and his wife were happily married and wanted to know what their story was. Carol Lieberman. I need to get her back. She wrote a book called Bad Girls, Why Men Love Them and How Good Girls Can Learn Their Secrets. So I had her on the show. And then I had the Dr. Nadine Macaluso, who was married to the Wolf of Wall Street, who talks about trauma bonds and bad relationships and how you've got to get out of that and how you do it. And this one's called Run Like Hell. So this was her book. And then this has nothing to do with relationships. It's called Effective Memories. And this was Lawrence Luckenbill's book, and it's an autobiographical book. And he had the kind of career that people can only dream about because he got on Broadway and did great things on Broadway and then great things in film. And then he ended up as working with Spock gosh, you know what I'm talking about. What's wrong with me? It's not Star Wars. It's the William Shatner show, Star Trek. Thank you. Take me a while. Anyway, yeah. So he had a great role in that, and so he's gotten to do like everything from Shakespeare to Star Trek, and that's a hell of a life. And he talks all about it in this book. If anybody's an actor and wants to know about things, it's a great book to read. Anyway, so Michael Stark, first-time writer, look into the things that they have at the networks, and then look at the things they have online and the festivals especially, and then see if you can get something on, like you can get something on Amazon and see if anybody likes it. See if anybody reads it, see if anybody has any feedback for you. And if you want to write scripts, you can go to these festivals, enter them in the festivals and see what happens. I mean, that's a good way to get a good feel of what people are going to like and what they're not going to like and what you can do, to make a living, because we all love what we do, but we've got to make a living. So that's the way to help you make a living. Okay. This one is from Shannon. Shannon and Christian do so much for me. I mean, I don't know what I'd do without them. If Olivia had not been killed off in 1990, do you think she and Colton would have stayed together? Well, they couldn't stay together forever because it's a soap opera. But they would have stayed together for a while. And then her little bad part would probably have to come out. And then she would probably do something and hurt his feelings. And who knows what happened. But it would have kept going on and going on and going on, which would have been so nice. But then I wouldn't have been on One Life to Live, and I wouldn't have done so many things in my life. So things work out, I guess, the way they're supposed to. Now I'm going through a rough time because I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do next. But I'm getting there. I think I'm getting there. So this was fun. I hope you liked it. I don't know what you're doing now. What time is it? Oh, it's been a while. So do you have any idea how much it means to me that you guys are watching this show and communicating with me and writing in and telling people about it? It's really, really cool. I also wanted to tell you about this company that I'm using. I'm buying all my stuff from a company called Melaleuca, and I'm going to tell you more about that later. But it's all natural, and with all that's going on in this country with preservatives and things that have poison in them and the food and stuff that we're finding out from Bobby Kennedy Jr., it's nice to know that there's a place you can get chemical-free cleaning products, chemical-free food, all kinds of great stuff. So I'll deal with that in my next show. And my next show is Jeff Mason did so much for me at ABC. And I met him through Kathy Lee Gifford. And it was just a friendship that has made such an enormous difference in my life. And I love this guy. I've always loved this guy. He's happily married, living in Naples. But He's the reason I moved to Connecticut. He's the reason I opened the Nighttime Emmys in 1994 with a song and a dance. I think he never told me that for sure, but I think he must have said something to somebody. He just did a lot for me at ABC. And when I first met him, I went to his house for dinner. I was invited to his house for dinner. A mutual friend of ours wanted us to meet one another, and I went to his house, and I got off the train, and I saw snow coming down and this beautiful white church. And it's the first time I'd ever been to Connecticut. And I went, I'm supposed to live here. So I decided to move there. But that took a minute. So anyway, so I get there and I love it. And I go to his house and I'm meeting Kathy Lee Gifford and Ron Konecki and his wife, Isabel, who was a huge lawyer in New York City. And so we had dinner and we had the most wonderful time. And I saw a couple of Emmys. And I said, wow, you have a few Emmys. How many do you have? He said, 23. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I said, 23 Emmys. He goes, well, I'm in sports and I did all the Olympics and I've been with ABC Sports for a long time. Well, anyway, I've got more stories to tell you about that in my book, but right now, P.S. I've known this man forever, right? So I'm watching something on television about September 5th. And they're talking about this man that played Jeff Mason in this movie called September 5th, about the Israeli athletes that were taken hostage. And then I'm not going to tell you the end of the movie if you don't know, but it was horrible. And his character, his name and his character is the center of this, part of the center of this whole movie. So I call him up. I'm like, how come you never told me that you've got a movie, like parts of it are nominated for Oscars? What the heck? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, I thought you knew. No, I didn't know. You've got to do my show. So he's going to be on my show. I'm shooting him on Tuesday and it'll be out early, probably toward the end of next week. And the fellow that I just had on, because he's a new talent and has a great personality, and he's an artist, and he does a lot of caricatures, but they're very special, and he does animation, and it's very special, and everybody loves him, and he's doing everybody, Dolly Parton, everybody. So he's getting ready to meet with her in Nashville. I'm very excited, and I just thought he was great. So Christian said, you got to have him on. So I love giving people a shot, and he really is worth it. He's really great. So I'll show some of his art will be in the show that drops tomorrow. So, of course, tomorrow won't be tomorrow when you see this, but it drops tomorrow anyway. Anyway, lots of love to you guys. Have a wonderful Easter. Please continue to write and to subscribe and like and share my shows, and see if you can get me up to 1,000 subscribers so we can keep doing this and maybe grow it into something else. And there's so much more I'd like to talk to you about, but I'm going to let you go. So God bless. Take care. Enjoy your Easter. Have it be blessed and kind and good. And surround yourself with people that you at least like, hopefully love. And if you can't, call the ones you love and wish them a happy holiday. Tell them that you're thinking of them. So thanks again. And I'll be back every week. Found the song. It's called Someone Like You. If someone like you loved someone like me, then suddenly nothing would ever be the same. And I think if I have to sing anymore, but then I got to pay him. So anyway, that's the song.